Welcome back to Think Fast, Write Fast. I'm going to make this video as short as I can, but I want to show you the process that you need to go through in order to create a self-published book. I'm going to use Lulu as an example because it's one of my favorite. They offer some options for printing that you don't see elsewhere, in particular if you need something spiral bound. Spiral bound cannot necessarily be sold on Amazon, although I created one that is being sold in Canada on Amazon. I don't know why, but there are all kinds of variations. So it's very critical to understand the publishing process in order to get your words into a book. And one of the first things you need to do is to choose what publisher you want to use. And you base that partly on what kind of book you want. We often jump in and don't think about what the printed copy needs to look like. We need to think about that. We need to think about the cover, the size of the book, whether we want hardcover or soft cover. Do we need a dust jacket? Not everyone will create dust jackets for you, as Lulu does. So you have a lot of decisions that you need to make. You need to have your book to be a certain number of pages in order to have printing done on the spine, but then you get into what size pages are you talking about. In the future, I will show you what you can do if your book is not long enough without just filling it with fluff. We don't want to do that. You shouldn't have anything in your book that doesn't serve a purpose. And many things in a book do serve a purpose. So we need to choose a publisher, and I'm going to take you through the process on Lulu. The process is pretty much the same on any of the self-publishing sites. And so we're going to start off with Lulu. So this is the home page of Lulu. And you can shop here. You can actually sell your books directly from Lulu. If you're doing a small run for a group that you belong to or an organization, you could certainly sell them directly from Lulu, but why not put them out on Amazon so other people can purchase them as well? Why shortcut yourself? You can do both. You don't have to choose between one or the other. And Lulu often runs specials for different kinds of books that they offer. So you can shop for books, but you can also create. And we're going to look at creating a print book. Lulu offers a variety of sizes. They do offer some formats in color. So if you need a full color, you could do a square full color book. This would be perfect bound. If you wanted to do something with a dust jacket, you could do a dust jacket in black and white. You cannot do both a dust jacket and a full color interior. So if you have a book with pictures and you want a dust jacket, either color or black and white, dust jacket providers, it will do a calculation here for what this book will cost. And it will tell you what kind of book this is, the paper quality. This is 50-pound weight paper. You could go to any print shop and ask them to show you what 50-pound paper looks like if you're not sure. This is a gloss cover. Shipping is global. That means you could ship this around the world. You're not restricted to just United States or just any particular country. You can ship these anywhere. Remember that most of the time, your book is going to need to be at least 130 pages long. There are retailers who will not carry your book if it is shorter than 130 pages. You may be able to get a title and author's name printed on a book that's under 130 pages. You will find that not every bookstore will carry that. And the reason is they want books that can be seen as a person walks down through the bookshelves looking at the different titles. They want to be able to see the title. No one's going to buy your book if it doesn't have a title on it. They're not in the store looking for the yellow book. They're looking for a title, or they may be looking for your name as an author. So this book, just to produce it, is $2.87. This is not the cover price. If I were to sell this for $5.67, I would earn $0. When you get to the selling point, they will help you calculate the markup. And the C code on the book is actually what tracks the price. You don't print a price on a book. We want to make this, but we're not ready yet. First, we want to download the template. And the template, if you don't know how to find your templates, I'm going to show you. That means it's probably in your downloads folder. So what we need to do next is we need to extract this because it comes as a zip file, which is a compressed file, and it is a read-only file. I'm going to actually expand it directly into my downloads folder. And just like that, it pops open. Now this version is not read-only. This is something I can edit. And there is a 6x9 style guide. Styles are everything. When the template opens, you'll see that there are little notes all the way through here. You will highlight these, just click on them until they're highlighted, and you'll delete those when you are finished. If you expand the view of a template, you'll see that it's kind of backwards, and that's just unavoidable because that's just the way it is. This is actually supposed to be on the right, but because of the way word processors function, they don't really know right from left. So you just have to keep in mind what is what. And that's one reason you want a template, because this is already set up so that your pages are in the correct sequence. What we want to focus on immediately is our chapters. I've mentioned before, and will mention frequently until the day I die, that you never, ever type your table of contents in the table of contents. What you do is you go to where that chapter is located in the book. And this chapter 1 starts on page 3. So if I scroll down through here, I will find there is page 3, and there is my chapter. If I want to change this from the period to the era, and then we can go back to our table of contents. And when we click any place in the table of contents, it becomes selected. And we have an option here to update the table. You could do one or two things. You could update just the page numbers or the entire table. I recommend generally updating the entire table. Click on OK, and now what once said the period now says the era. How did that happen? It's very easy. That's what our styles are all about. I'm going to click on the home button in my ribbon menu and open styles. The style for all of the chapters in this, it is a 16-point font. It is centered. It has an 8-point blank line afterwards. All of those things are in here. So it's much more than what you would find just on a font. It is more than what you would find on a paragraph palette. Now, when I go down to the end of this and I want to create chapter 2, so let's say that I want to create my next chapter. I will type chapter 2, and instead of an era, I want to talk about an epic. I want to always return after the chapter name, hit an enter key. I'm going to highlight this. The quick way to highlight, if you're not used to that, out here in the left-hand margin. So just very easily select that. We know that heading 1 is the style to apply to all chapters. Automatically, it does all those little formatting things. First of all, I don't have to remember those. The computer will automatically apply them. And I can go back to my table of contents now, and because I formatted my table of contents to the correct format for a table of contents entry, which is heading 1, I can select my update table. Remember, I just have one chapter so far called the era that is showing up in my table of contents. Update the entire table. Now I also see chapter 2 epic, and the computer knows what page it's on. It's on page 5. That is why you want to use your styles. They do so much more than any one of these palettes do. And your fonts have to be embedded in the file. This is especially important if you've used any fonts that you have downloaded, that you have purchased. You need to include those in your document. But it's going to create a smaller file, which means it will upload faster to Lulu or whoever your self-publishing site is. If we were getting ready to actually send this to the publishing process, we would actually save this as a PDF. And then we're done with word processing at that point. We can close that. The next step Then we click on Make This Book, and we have to give it a title at that point. At this point, I choose my file and I upload it. Keep that in mind. You can get this far with your book and go back later and upload the PDF. When you create a book, you have the choice of selling on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and more, and you can look through the data on the Lulu website if you want to know where else. So we want to always keep that in mind, and you should only be required to purchase one book, one copy of your own book. If you're being asked to buy more than one copy, you need to find a better self-publishing empire to work with. You should expect to purchase one copy of your own book. That is an evaluation copy. It may be called a proof copy. And the purpose of that is you want to hold that book in your hand and flip through it page by page, see where the page numbers actually land, make sure the pages are numbered correctly, make sure that everything's included in there, that everything follows the margins, and so on, and that you have deleted those little notes off the template. So you need to actually have a hard copy in your hand to look at. Now, that copy will cost you roughly half the cover cost. So you have a hard copy in your hand. If you do have to make revisions, it's best to purchase a second evaluation copy just to make sure that they actually were implemented the way you thought. Aside from that, you should never have to pay for a book. However, there is one instance where you do want to pay for your own books, and that is when you're doing a book signing. You will want to perhaps have a case of books. Again, you pay not at the printing price, but at a discount, and then you recoup that when you price the books as you sell them at the book signing or whatever the case may be. Otherwise, you should not be buying cases of books unless you plan on selling books out of the back seat of your car or you own a bookstore. As a writer, you should not be buying books. You're in the business of selling books. So if you're working with a company that requires that you purchase anything more than an evaluation copy, you need to find a better source. And Lulu is really one of my absolute favorites. I don't get paid to say that. I just simply think they have a stellar process in place. And long story short, that's how you do self-publishing. There are lots of other details, and I'll be going over those in the course of time. But for now, that is self-publishing.